Hey, welcome back, everybody. Sorry I'm a minute or two late. Again, this is the weekly Freight Broker Bootcamp Live that we do every Monday at noon Eastern. I want to thank you for joining me. If you're catching this on replay, hit me up in the chat box. Hit me up below with hashtag replay. I love to hear from my replay folks. Hopefully you guys can hear me and see me and everything's going well. Today is a very cool topic. And if you're going to become a freight broker or a freight agent, learning how to sell confidently is going to be very, very important. So today I'm going to give you 4 tips on how to build unshakable confidence in sales. This is a very important training, something I think I can definitely help you with because I've been there. I've been that person on the other end that was sitting at the desk, hiding behind my phone and hiding behind my cubicle and hiding from everybody because I didn't want them to know that I didn't have the confidence to pick up the phone and sell. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I know that a lot of people struggle with this. So before we do that, let's jump in and see who's here today. Hit me up with the city and state that you're logging in from, and I'm going to give you a quick shout out. So before I do that, the agenda today, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the training. We're going to talk about these 4 tips for unshakable sales confidence. Then we're going to do a quick giveaway. Okay, we're going to do a quick giveaway. We're going to give away a shirt. I don't know. Maybe I'll even give away one of these white Freightpreneur shirts. This is the first time I've ever worn this. I don't know if you guys like it. I normally wear the black. I prefer the black, but I thought this was kind of cool. So I'm going to give away a Freightpreneur shirt, and then we're going to do live Q&A at the end. For those of you that stick around to the end, we're going to do live Q&A, okay? So let's just make sure that everything is working properly. Hold on one second. All right, is the mic's working good? Good. Sorry about popping in your ear, though. I got a little notification here, and I wanted to make sure the sound was good. Everybody could hear with no issues. So let's give some shout outs. What do we got here? We've got Nelson from Haven, Florida. Welcome. We got Jeff Bjork from Arizona. Welcome. We've got, holy cow, the feed just jumped. We got Army Co from Green Cove Springs, Florida. Lots of Florida today. We got Joaquin from Brownsville, Texas. Well, here comes Texas. We got Tiffany from Berlin, New Jersey. We got Priscilla from Sacramento, California. Irene from California, San Diego. Jay Ward from Dallas, Texas. Charmin Abbey. John Enrique from Las Vegas. Tej Singh, from Toronto. So now we got Canada and the U.S. We got somebody from Covington, Georgia. Cindy from Houston. We've got JT Tao from Yuma, Arizona. We've got Marcos. We've got Jomo Mighty from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We've got a lot of Florida today. Florida's winning so far. We've got Frank from New Jersey. We've got Danielle from Covington, Georgia. We got Antoine from Florida. We've got Michelle from Ohio. Shelly from North Carolina. James from Sioux Falls, Idaho, I'm assuming. We got Austin from Dallas. We got Quentin from Texas. Gerard from New Jersey. Derek from Little Rock. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Let me just do this really quick because for some reason, the lighting just disappeared on my screen. So that's a little better. Okay, cool. So we'll pump this light up a little bit. All right, guys. So I'm excited. I hope you guys are. This is a very important topic because you can study sales all you want. You can have the best script. You can have the best rebuttals to objections, common objections. But if you don't have the confidence, it really won't matter, right? So the 4 tips I'm going to go over today, remember, this is what we're going to talk about today, but I'm going to do a quick giveaway before we do that. I'm going to give away, hey, if you guys, who wants a Freightpreneur shirt? If you want a Freightpreneur shirt, this white one with the black font, okay? I'm going to give away 1 shirt. You have to be in the U.S. only. I don't ship internationally for these shirts. But here's all you have to do to qualify for the drawing to possibly win the shirt. All I want you to do is share the stream. If you are on YouTube, click the share button and share the stream somewhere on social. If you're on Facebook, click the share button and share on Facebook. I don't care where you share. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, wherever you want to share the stream. And then come back in and type hashtag shared in the comments below. If you do that, I will then consider you as one of the possible winners for the drawing. That'll enter you. That'll qualify you. If for some reason you can't share, then just, particularly if you're on Facebook, just tag 3 people in the comments below, and then they'll get notified of the Freight Broker Bootcamp Live, and then maybe they'll join us in a future episode down the road. Okay. So again, I do these every live Monday at noon. Okay. So I'm going to do the training, and then I'm going to do the giveaway at right after the training, but before the Q&A. Okay. So right now I want you to like this stream wherever you're at, hit the like button. I'd love to see if we could get at least 100 likes on this stream. If we could get 100 likes on this live, maybe next week I'll come back with a really cool extra special prize way beyond the shirt. Okay. But let's see if we can get 100 likes on this, and then share the stream. That would be great. Truly appreciate you spreading the word. Again, I don't charge you to be a part of these weekly trainings. This is just something that I've been doing for a long time now. If you go to my YouTube channel in particular, you'll see hundreds of videos on there. You can subscribe and get notified whenever I go live or whenever I release a new video. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. So if you want to be a part of the giveaway, make sure you share the stream. Okay, cool. All right. Let me grab a quick drink. And, before we dive in, who enjoyed the holidays? 4th of July. We just had the 4th of July, right? So 4th of July was yesterday. I had a very last minute, unexpected, larger than what I expected party at the house. We probably had, I don't know, it probably had to be 30 to 40 people at the house, which was great. A lot of family, a lot of friends, great weather. Everything worked out great. It was beautiful. It worked out extremely well. I just want to pay respects to the veterans out there. Anybody who's a veteran who's tuning in today or on replay, or if you're a family member of somebody who's been a veteran, past, present, then thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. Truly appreciate that. Didn't get a chance to go live yesterday, but I didn't want to step over the opportunity to say something this morning or today. If you guys enjoyed the holidays, I hope you guys enjoyed the holidays. I had a great time. I had an absolutely blast. And now I have a lot of cleanup to do. So after this, we're going to get a little bit of work, and then we got a ton of cleanup. So I hope you guys enjoyed the holidays. What veterans do we have? Do we have any veterans here that are a part of the stream today? Give me a heads up in the comments. I think somebody mentioned they might have been a veteran. Let's see. Yeah, we got a lot of people who have shared. That's awesome. Thank you. Perfect. Any veterans that are on here right now? Just retired. Thank you, Tony, for your service. Amazing. 25 years. Wow. Good for you. That's amazing. Frank Burgos from the Navy. Awesome. Michelle Portwood from the Army. Good. I love it. That's awesome. Thank you guys so much for your service. Truly appreciated. Again, I had an absolute blast. I hope you guys did too. And I hope you guys are going to have a blast, because I got a bunch of notes to go over. This training is something that is very near and dear to my heart, because I've been there. I've been in your shoes. Okay. So let's go over the 4 tips to building unshakable confidence in sales. All right. So I'm going to dive right in. One of the best ways to enhance your confidence is you have to change your mental state. Now, what I mean by that is right now, 5 minutes ago, and in 5 minutes from now, you're going to have a mental state. And that mental state is going to dictate your actions and your emotions. And one of those is confidence or lack of confidence. So one of the best ways to change your mental state is through changing your physiology, right? There's an expression, motion creates emotion, right? So you have that emotion. And so my suggestion, one of the easiest ways to enhance your confidence and to build unshakable confidence is when you are selling, don't sit in a chair, stand up. Stand up, use your hands, keep your head high, have your shoulders back, have a strong posture, And believe it or not, that in itself, changing that physiology will change your emotional state, which will build confidence. Okay. So the last thing you want to do is be sitting huddled behind a desk with your head down and, you're kind of whispering into the phone and you lack that confidence. One of the best and easiest ways to enhance your confidence is to change your physiology. Okay. You notice how I stand during these lives. Can you imagine if I sat down on the chair and I just kind of like mumbled into the microphone? And how much would you guys like that? Would that be fun? No, probably not. Right. So I stand up because I want to get excited. I am excited. So ultimately, I'm not trying to get you, where it's this fake pumped up, but I do want you to understand that your physiology can definitely change your state, and your state is important to manage, especially when you're trying to enhance confidence. So number one, change your physiology. Okay. Number two, you have to have a plan. Okay. Because confidence is based upon certainty. If you lack certainty in your results or in what you're trying to achieve, then your confidence is going to go down. If you have a high level of certainty that you're going to achieve your goal, then your confidence goes up, right? Just makes sense. So let's use an example. Let's say, for example, just a non-sales related example. You are going to sail a ship from New York City to England. Okay, just a random example. And in the first example, you don't know where you're going to get your ship. You don't know where you're going to get your fuel. You don't have a map. You don't have a compass. You don't have any supplies. And you don't have a crew. How certain are you going to be that you're going to actually be able to sail from New York to England? Not very certain. So your confidence level is going to be very low, right? Makes sense. All right. So now in scenario B, the second scenario here, all right, you've got a ship. You know where you're going to get fuel. You got a compass. You got a map. You've got a crew, right? You've got somebody you can call in the event that you have a problem, right? So just imagine the difference between scenario one and scenario two. How much more certainty would you have in those scenarios? Well, the exact same thing applies to sales. The exact same thing applies to being an entrepreneur. You have to have a plan. So sales is a process. It's not just a random happening. You're not just randomly picking up the phone and trying to talk to somebody on the other end. There's a process. There's a science behind it. And so you need to understand that. You need to have a real plan. Now, I can't give you a plan right this minute on what the sales are for you because they vary niche to niche, industry to industry, product to product, service to service. So the key is you have to have a plan, because the more you have a plan, the more certainty you will have. And the more certainty you have, the more confidence you will have, right? That's how we build unshakable confidence. All right. So number one, we talked about change your physiology. Number two, we talked about you have to have a plan to create that certainty and that confidence. Number three, this is an important one. Not a lot of people talk about this. You have to understand, it's not, you hear this expression, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. I want to amend that a little bit. I want you to think of this as it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Because here's the thing. You can say something very confidently, but if you have the wrong words, right, and you have the wrong premise and the wrong understanding, and you have the wrong script, or you have the wrong way of overcoming an objection, you can be confident as you want. If it doesn't make sense, it's not going to work. So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. All right. So what I mean by that is really simple. I'm not one of those guys who's a big fake it till you make it. I don't like that saying. I don't like that philosophy. I understand it. It's not my preference. Okay. I don't like faking anything. All right. But speaking with confidence is really important. And top salespeople are confident over the phone. They have what I call verbal posture. Just like I'm standing here now, strong posture, shoulders back, head up, hands, using my hands. That's a physical posture, like we talked about changing your physiology a few minutes ago. A verbal posture is talking with that confidence, right? It's not mumbling and bumbling and talking in a real low tone voice. It's exuding confidence. So number 3 is not just what you say, but how you say it, right? Emotion comes through. Confidence comes through. Passion comes through verbally. Now remember, most of our sales is going to be over the phone. You're not going to be face-to-face as much as some of the other industries. I would tell you that 95% of your sales is probably going to be done over the phone. Some of you, it'll be 100% of your sales, okay? So what you say, how you say something is equally, if not more important than what you say, because people buy confidence. So having that verbal posture is very, very important. That's number 3. And number 4, last but not least, you have to master the core skills of sales that make you successful. You have to master the fundamental core skills of sales. What do I mean by that? You have to master things like how to build rapport quickly, right? How to follow up like a professional, right? How to break down and overcome common objections. How to close with confidence. How to retain clients and turn one load into 6 or 7 figures, right? So those are examples. The key here to learning and mastering sales, right, and the core skills of sales is you have to invest. Now, what do I mean by invest? You can buy books. You can buy courses. You can hire coaches, right? Those are all things you can do. Or you can do what I did, which is do all those things. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into my own education over the last 25 years. Now, I didn't do that day 1 or day 2 or day 5 or month 1 or year 1. Over the course of my lifetime, I've invested in my skills. I've invested in myself. Sales was one of those early skills that I invested heavily in. And it has paid huge, huge, huge dividends. Okay? So investing, reading books, taking online courses, hiring coaches, mentors, consultants, people that can help you to get from point A to point B faster, and they can compress time. Okay? That's really what that's designed to do. So you need to invest in those skills. And one of the most important things you can do is to learn the core fundamental skills of a successful salesperson, whether it be in freight brokerage, freight agency, or whatever industry you're in. Okay? So the good news is I am about to release my new Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program. This is a program where I take that piece of my brain, this whole piece of my brain that I've learned and acquired and ingrained in my mind over the last 25 plus years, and I insert it into your brain through my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. You'll learn all of those skills. You'll learn how to build instant rapport, how to follow up like a pro, how to overcome objections, how to close with confidence, how to retain clients and turn them from 1 lead into 6 or 7 figures. All those things plus a whole lot more is a part of my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. And I can tell you it's launching very soon. We are making huge progress. I'm thinking definitely in the next couple of weeks, this is going to release. You guys are going to get notified. But in order to get notified of the new Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, you only need to do one thing when it releases, okay? You need to get on the wait list, because last time it sold out in 1 day, okay? 1 day it sold out. This time I'm going to double the number of people in, but it could still sell out in 1 day. So you need to get on the wait list. The way to do that is to go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/FB sales. freightbrokerbootcamp.com/FB sales. You will get notified immediately when it releases, and you'll be one of the first people that can get enrolled, okay? Everybody else is going to have to wait, right? If you're on the wait list, you will get first dibs on getting enrolled. Now, first and foremost, it is not a free program. It's going to cost you money. You're going to have to invest, okay? There's nothing I can do about that. That's just the price of admission, okay? I haven't finalized the price yet, but here's what my guarantee to you will be. whatever I asked you to invest, whatever you invest in this program, it'll be worth 10x whatever, whatever that is. It'll be worth more than 10x whatever you put in, invest into it money-wise, okay? And, it's going to be I'm going to tell you right now, the feedback I got from doing the first version of this in my beta group, the group that came in and joined me early on a few months ago, has been off the charts. I'm going to share a lot of that with you during the release. Just make sure you're on the list to get notified. Make sure you're on the wait list, because if you're not on the wait list, you won't get notified. You won't get a chance to enroll. And then you're going to be mad at me later saying, hey, when are you going to open it back up? And I may open it back up 6 months from now. I might not open it back up for a year. I don't know. It depends upon my schedule, depends upon what's going on. But I'm super excited about the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. I hope you guys are too. If you're ready for that program where it's a dedicated sales training specific to freight broker and freight agents, where I take that sales part of my brain and transport it into yours, then you definitely want to sign up for this. If you're brand new and you're just curious about getting started as a freight broker or freight agent, that's cool too. Check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. That's where you're going to want to go to check out Freight Broker Bootcamp. That's my introductory course. That's where you just get started through the fundamentals of A to Z, including, picking your niche and getting your authority and setting up your office and some basic, some of those basic things, including, getting some of your first clients, rating, shipper packet, carrier packet, all the contracts and jazz. And just know that Freight Broker Bootcamp program has a 60-day, 100% money back guarantee. And we've been in business over a decade, have trained over 8,000 students. So that's my spiel. If you want to get on the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator waitlist, freightbrokerbootcamp.com/FB sales. If you're just getting started as a freight broker, freight agent, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Understand that having confidence is a critical part to effectively selling your service. I don't care what you're selling. So these 4 tips, if you apply these 4 tips, it will help you to build unshakable confidence in sales. And that's it for today. So that's the lesson. Enjoy it. All right, so let's do the giveaway. I'm going to grab a drink because my head is spinning right now. Probably the caffeine I had this morning. All right, so here we are. Number 1, I hope you guys enjoyed that. But I promise you, if you apply those strategies, you apply those techniques, you internalize what I just shared with you, I promise you it's going to build your confidence. All right. Now, there are all kinds of other things you can do to build your confidence. Those are the 4 I wanted to share with you today. I think those are really important. So let's do the giveaway. For those of you that want to be qualified and possibly win this shirt, I'm going to give away 1 shirt to 1 person in the next couple of minutes. All you have to do, like the stream. Remember, I'd love to get 100 likes, whether that be on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. Get 100 likes. If you don't see 100 under the like button right now, smash the like button. Do me a favor. Let me know. Secondly, share the stream. I don't care where you share it. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. This is an honor system, guys. I'm not going to go out and check this right now, right? I don't have time to go out and check this during a live Freight Broker Bootcamp, right? So ultimately, this is an honor system. So go out, share it, and then come back in and type #shared. After the giveaway, I want you to stick around because I'm going to do live Q&A. So for those of you that have questions or want to stick around to the end, I'm going to do live Q&A from the audience. You'll be able to type your questions in. But for now, hold your questions. Don't type them in right now. We're still doing the giveaway. Otherwise, your question might get lost somewhere in the feed, okay? So, okay, cool. All right, so share the stream, like and share the stream. Let me know, and we're going to do this quick giveaway. I'm going to grab a drink. And hopefully pick a winner here in a minute. All right, so we're going to give it about 1 more minute. And then, oh, I like these glasses. They're pretty cool. These glasses are sweet. I think I should wear glasses from now. I think I might wear sunglasses during all of my lives because I think it makes me look, no, it doesn't. It definitely doesn't. Definitely doesn't make me look cool. But those are actually kind of cool glasses. So it is Monday, July 5th, and the summer is going by way too fast. And man, I have been hustling really hard on this Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. So we're just waiting for a few more people to be able to share the stream. and then we're going to do this giveaway. But I have been hustling my butt off. I never work this hard in June and July. I usually have 3-day work weeks during the summer, you know, on Fridays and, you know, on June and July and even August sometimes. I have been working like 6 days a week on this thing. And it's a lot of work, but I think it's going to absolutely be worth it. I think it's going to change a lot of people's lives. It's going to transform a lot of people that are a part of my community, because they're actually going to have the skills and the tools and the systems, and most importantly, the confidence to actually go out into the world and get shippers, right? So I'm excited. All right, so we got a bunch of people that have shared the stream. Cool. I'm going to randomly pick. So what I do is I close my eyes, I scroll through the shares, and then I just point to one with my mouse as my eyes are closed. You can see this is random. I'm scrolling through. I'm going to pick a winner, and the winner is Shelly Petey. Shelly Petey is the winner. Shelly is the winner of the Freightpreneur shirt. Now, Shelly, you have the choice of getting a black shirt with a white font, or a white shirt with black font. I don't care which one you want. Here's all you got to do to collect it. Go to the Freight Broker Facebook page, the Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page. You go to that page and then message me your full name, your full address, your cell phone number, and the color and size. Just say, I want a black shirt. I want a medium black shirt. I want a white shirt. I want a small white shirt, whatever it is. Okay. And then I'll ship that shirt out to you. You'll get it in the next couple of weeks. I'll process it this week. It usually takes a week or two to get totally delivered. But yeah, go out and make sure you send me that message. If you don't send me the message, you definitely will not get the shirt, because I have no idea where you live. So go to the Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page, name, address, cell phone, size, color, or shirt, and I will send that out to you. Congratulations on being this week's winner of the Freightpreneur shirt. All right, cool. So let's do some Q&A. Congratulations, Shelly Petey. Once again, congratulations. All right, Shelly. Yeah, I got you. I know you want the black shirt. Just make sure. Oops. Shelly, I know you want the black shirt. Just make sure that you put that in the message that you sent to me through the Freight Broker Bootcamp, okay? Through the Facebook page, because I will not remember. My mind is, I have so many things going on. I've got to discharge a lot of things at the same time. Otherwise, I'd have circuit overload. All right, so let's do some Q&A. Who's got some questions? All right, so let's see here. Here's a question. Is there a particular, okay, so let's do this one. I'm not sure I understand this. Is there a particular income that you have to intake in order to start the business as a whole, or at least obtain a clientele? No, I don't think so. I don't think to become a freight broker or a freight agent, there's no income requirement in order to become a freight broker or a freight agent. So they don't ask you what your financial status is, how much money you currently make before becoming a freight broker or freight agent. No. If that's your question, then the answer is no. There is no financial requirement of your income requirement in order to become a freight broker or freight agent. Now, in order to get your freight broker bond, which is a part of a requirement to get your freight broker authority, your freight broker license, you will need, decent credit. You're going to need, you're not going to get, here's how it works. The better your credit is, if you have an 800 credit score, you're going to get a very cheap surety bond, right? A freight broker bond. If you have a 700 credit score, you're going to get a little bit more expensive, but you'll still get approved. If you have a 600 credit score, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but you'll typically still get approved. Now, if you got a 500 credit score, it's going to either be really expensive or you may not get approved. But here's the good news. If you don't get approved as a freight broker, you can always become a freight agent, which is an independent contractor that works under a licensed freight broker, okay, that does not require a license, authority, a bond, or even a credit check, okay? So yeah, if you can't qualify as a broker, don't give up there. Become an agent. Not long ago, I interviewed a good friend of mine who's also a past student, Monica Gonzalez, who went on to, she never became a broker. That was one of her initial goals. She became an agent. Now, the last time I interviewed her, she had made over $300,000 in profit right in her pocket in 2019. Okay. So as an agent, it can be very, very lucrative. I've had agents that have made over $100,000 in 1 month. Now, I'm not promising you that. I'm not guaranteeing you that. That's unusual. Okay. But it can happen. So for you to make, high 5 figures or even a 6-figure income as an agent is very doable if you have the right plan, if you have the right, training and coaching and process, right? So yeah, so I hope that helps. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so here's a question. For those who cannot afford rate tools for quoting loads, what do you suggest is the next best source to moving the first load? Very simple. You're going to have a load board, but that doesn't mean you have to have the freight quote tools associated with that load board, because there's different membership levels. If you have access to a load board where you can search for carriers that are either actively posting their truck in the lane that you're looking to quote, or you get a lane history of carriers that have posted their truck in a specific lane based on a specific equipment, you will call either the live trucks that are posted or the lane history based on that lane and equipment. And you can then negotiate with them and understand what the going rate is for point A to point B for a van load, or point X to point Y with a flatbed load, right? And that you can use that market intelligence, that spot market intelligence is in this market more valuable than the actual data from the rating tools, right? It's way more valuable because it's current, right? It's the most relevant rate that you can come up with today. It's not based on last month or based on 3 months ago or some fuel surcharge that was much higher or much lower, or when supply and demand was different. Because what you have to understand is price is driven by supply and demand. And the supply and demand of trucks in and out of any market changes dynamically all the time. So that would be my suggestion on how to understand rates without purchasing the rating tool from the load boards. All right, give me a minute. I lost my place here. Okay, so Maddie Patty. Hey, Dennis, I'm 19 and my father was a truck driver, so I have knowledge. You think there's a possibility for someone my age? Yeah, 100%. 100%. Here's why. Because nobody on the other end of the phone is going to ask your age. You are either going to act your age, sound your age, is the only way that they're going to know you're 19. So as a 19-year-old, you are going to have to learn how to project yourself with more confidence. And you're going to need to have the lingo and the dialogue. And so if you have some experience because of your father being a truck driver, that's beneficial. But you now need to translate that into the freight brokerage business, and you need to build that confidence. So I think it's a very important lesson that you're here today, is those building that unshakable confidence. Because whether you're 19 or you're 91, if you don't have that confidence, it won't matter. You're going to need to build that confidence. Now, you're not going to have all that confidence day one, but day 1, day 90, day 180, day 365 are going to be totally different. I've told you guys my story. My story was simple. I got hired in college for a sales job because I was broke. I sat down at the desk, had a pile of leads in front of me, no experience, and was absolutely clueless. But most of all, I was petrified to pick up the phone. And I was the worst salesperson they had ever hired, by far. I have no idea why they didn't fire me. But the manager saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. And I went from there. But every call I got better and my confidence went up. And eventually I was very confident. And eventually that confidence translated into being the #1 salesperson in the company. And that translated into me eventually starting my own business. And to this day, I've done over $200 million in sales as an entrepreneur. So I've been very blessed. Matter of fact, I was going to wear a shirt today that said #blessed. It was a gift, but I didn't wear it today, but I have been very blessed. And so Yeah, I don't think your age is going to be the biggest determining factor as to whether you can become successful or not. I think it'll be your attitude and your skills, the skills that you're willing to develop and invest in, and your attitude. So I hope that helps. Good question, Maddie Patty. Thank you. Cool name, by the way. All right, here's a question from Nelson Sanchez. Hey, Dennis, what does a book of business have to look like for a 60-40 split or a 7-30 split? I'm going to give you my opinion, and this is somewhat subjective, okay? So if I were hiring an agent today and they had no book of business, meaning when I mean a book of business, I mean an active customer base, meaning they were previously moving loads for those shippers, not just names and companies they know or people's phone numbers they have. I'm talking about they are actively moving loads and invoicing and getting paid for freight brokerage from these companies. Okay. So that's an active book of business. So if someone had no active customers, I would give them a 50-50 split. That's how it would work. Now, if they had, let's say, a $500,000 book of business where they were doing at least $500,000 a year projected revenue, that's about 40-some thousand dollars a month in gross, right? So if an invoice, so you're looking at, if an average invoice is for a full truckload is $1,500, right? So we got $500,000 divided by 15. Divided by 1,500. That's about 333 loads. Okay. So if somebody was doing about estimated $500,000 a year in gross, then I would probably consider moving them to 60%, assuming that their margins were good. You know, as long as they were getting at or around 15% margins, I would probably put them up to 60% or possibly get them to 60%. If they were doing more than $1 million in annual revenue and their margins were at or about 15% or higher, I would consider moving them to 70. But it might be closer to $1.5 million or $2 million. I might consider it when they start getting north of $1 million. So I hope that helps. I mean, this is just me. This is subjective, right? You know, you're not going to do what I'm doing, but I'm going to give you an example. If you want a chance to get a 60-40, you're probably going to need a $500,000 to $1 million book. If you want a chance to get a 70-30, you're going to probably need $1 million to $2 million book. That'll give you a basic framework. Good question. Thanks for asking. All right, I'm scrolling. Okay, so John has a question. How do you reply to a shipper when they say they only receive inbound? Okay, well, if they only receive inbound, that doesn't mean that they don't pay the freight bill for inbound freight. A lot of companies pay their own freight bills for inbound freight. Now, if they don't control that freight, so there's something that's called FOB origin or FOB destination. Now, I don't want to confuse you, but when a buyer of a product, say I'm buying these, these computer mice, right? I'm buying a truckload of computer mice, mouse, mice, whatever you would call it, okay? And I'm buying those from a manufacturer. So when they sell those to me, they sell them with the terms of either FOB origin, which means I'm responsible at their dock to bring in a carrier and to pick that freight up, and I'm responsible from that point on. Once it leaves their dock, they wash their hands of it. They're no longer responsible. Or it's called FOB destination, which means the manufacturer of the mice is going to cover the shipping cost, and then I'm responsible at my dock once I receive it. So you got FOB origin or FOB destination. So if it depends on if they're, dictating who the carrier is, if they're dictating, if they're paying the freight bill, all of that. If they're not paying the freight bill and they don't have any control over the carrier, then there isn't anything you do. That's not an objection. That's a condition. They're not telling you, no, you suck. They're not telling you, no, they don't want to do business with you. They're telling you they can't do business with you because they don't control the freight bills. And that may actually happen. So I hope that makes sense. All right. All right. So Shelly has a question. Shelly's the winner of our Freightpreneur t-shirt. Congratulations. Thanks for sticking around and asking questions. What is the best way to go about getting a shipper when you do a face-to-face meetup without ever having any type of contact with them? Okay, so you're talking about door-to-door, B2B cold calling, okay? So what you're talking about doing is you're talking about going to an industrial park or something and walking through that industrial park and either walking to the front door and meeting with the secretary and asking to either meet with or give some information to the shipping manager, logistics manager. The other way is you'd go through the dock, meaning you'll go out behind the building and sometimes they'll have a dock, and sometimes you can work your way in through the dock where they'll have a door and you can get buzzed in and you can meet the shipping manager that way. Those are the two entry points to cold call, truly cold call a shipper face-to-face. Now, there's a friend of mine, a student and a client of mine, his name's Franklin Ndekwe, who's done extremely well with that. He's in California. I'm not going to share with you his niche because he's doing very well and it's his niche, not for me to share. But he's in California and he started out doing, he was very comfortable on the outside. So he started doing a lot of outside, face-to-face cold calling and has done extremely well. But like anything else, he has a process. Sometimes if they don't have he likes to go to the dock and when he can, but if he can't, he'll go through the front door, go through the receptionist. And so there is no perfect way to do this. What you're going to find out is going through the front door, a lot of times the gatekeeper, the secretary, is going to shield the transportation manager, the freight manager, the logistics manager, whoever manages shipping. So they're going to shield them. That's part of their job. So at that point, you might only be able to drop off some information. Now I'm going to tell you that if you just drop off a brochure, it's okay, but it's probably not going to do anything. You need to figure out a way to be unique. Okay. So one of the ways that people are unique is they come bearing gifts, right? So let's say, for example, you bring a box of donuts or a box of cookies or a pizza or something, right? You come bearing gifts. That has a tendency to get people's attention. Now, I don't know if financially you can afford that, but I would tell you that if you went to a shipper's front door and their receptionist and you said, "Hi, my name is, I'd like to speak with the shipping manager," versus, "Hi, my name is, I'd like to speak with Joe, the shipping manager," because you've done a little bit of research beforehand online and you found out it was Joe Smith was the shipping manager. He said, "Hey, listen, I'd love to drop this off to Joe. I'd love to drop this off. Could you make sure he gets it?" And then when she says, "Yeah," you simply say, "Listen, is he here? I'd love to drop it off myself." And if she says, "No, he's not here," or "I'm sorry, I can't let you in," but there's also a probability she's going to say, "Oh yeah," number one, she's going to assume that you know Joe. Okay. And number two, she's going to say, "I know Joe loves donuts, so I should probably let him in or her in." Right. So at that point, number one, you've gotten the receptionist's attention, the gatekeeper. Number two, will definitely get the prospect's attention. Number three, they might buzz you in and let you go back and actually hand deliver it, at which point you'll be able to shake their hand, make an introduction, and then sell from there. Okay, so those are a couple of ideas. I don't know if you like any of those, but those are all things that I've done. Those are all things that I've seen other people do, and those are all things that will work depending upon the circumstances. All right. Frank Burgos has a question. Can you broker and dispatch? I'm sure you can. I don't teach dispatch, independent dispatch. You guys have all heard that story. I don't teach that because I still have a question in my mind based on the FMCSA if it's legal, because I believe it's unauthorized brokering without a license because you're being compensated for arranging transport. But that's just me. There are a bunch of other people that feel the same. I don't teach independent dispatch, but I don't begrudge anybody how they make their money. So you probably can broker and dispatch. The challenge will be, as a dispatcher, you're getting loads from brokers. That's where you're getting most of your loads as a dispatcher. You're going to the load board, you're getting loads from brokers. And so as a freight broker, you're not going to go to the load board and get loads from brokers. You're going to go to shippers. You're going to make a list, and you're actually going to have to call and email and contact shippers and then get loads from them. Okay. And then you're going to provide those to obviously whatever carriers that you have in your roster of carriers, approved carriers. So the difference is if you are a broker and you're a dispatcher, it's going to confuse the brokers that you're doing business with on the dispatch side, because if you call them for a load and they see you're a broker, they're going to think you're going to double broker that freight. And dispatching is not double brokering, because as a dispatcher, you represent a carrier, an individual carrier. A lot of times they're owner operators. So it creates confusion, particularly with the brokers, if you are double brokering the load. So what I've heard some people do is they create two different companies or two different brands with two different phone numbers. One they do dispatch through, one they do brokerage through. So I can't testify because I don't do dispatch, but that's what I've heard, and that's hopefully something that might benefit you. All right, let me scroll through here. All right, so here's a question from JT Tao, who's always here every week. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being a loyal part of the community. I appreciate it. Question is it a smart idea to call a carrier of a rate that you've thought of before quoting a shipper? For example, shipper gives me a load. I think it'll cost about $3.50 a mile to run it. So I'll call the carrier asking if they'll run it for that rate. Yes, JT. You should not just randomly make up a rate based on what you think. Unless you have a significant amount of experience where you're moving freight in that lane daily, if not weekly, and you've done it hundreds of times, you need to do your due diligence. So you need to call carriers off of the load board. You need to call carriers off of the lane history. You need to do some rate research with whatever rating tools. You need to use your TMS, whatever your software is, and see what loads you've run in the past and see what rate you've ran them for, how frequently they are, how long ago they were, where fuel price was. So you need to do some due diligence. Do not randomly just come up with a per mile or an all-in rate. That's a surefire way to either do one of two things. Quote really high. It's really easy to quote high. $10 a mile. No problem. I know I'm going to be able to find a carrier for that. Or $1.79 a mile. It's really easy to quote low. It's really easy to quote high. It's hard to find the sweet spot. And the sweet spot is determined based upon where is the spot market today. If I had a load today and I posted it to the load board, what would it take me to cover that load today? So you need to talk to carriers to get that rate. Now, it doesn't take that long. Somebody asked me a question over the weekend through social. They asked me, they said, how long does it take to provide a freight quote? And a lot of it depends upon the complexity of the load, but assuming it's like a one pick, one drop van load or reefer load, it should only take you about 5 to 15 minutes, depending on your level of experience. So I hope that helps. Priscilla, do you recommend setting up a factoring company before moving a load, or do you think it's better to wait until, oh geez, sorry about that. Do you think it's better to wait until after we start moving loads? Well, if you're going to need the cash flow from a factoring company to pay your carriers quickly, then you might want to reach out to some factoring companies up front, right? And at least introduce yourself and find out what the requirements are for you to get set up. If you don't get set up with them, right from Jump Street. Now, if you have your own cash or you have your own credit where you can finance the first 3 or 4 or 5 loads through your credit card or through your bank account or through your savings or through a loan or through whatever, then if you have that capability, then factoring isn't nearly as big of a deal before you start moving your first load. So those would be the things that I would consider. I can't give you there's no right or wrong answer. It depends upon your individual circumstances, okay? So I hope that helps and gives you a little bit of guidance. Tony Parker asks, how do you decide on how to pick a niche using load to truck ratio and area average rates? Well, I don't think that would be how I would use it. I wouldn't necessarily just use those factors to determine my niche. there's a lot of ways you determine your niche. Some people use their past history, so their experience. So let's say, for example, I worked in the steel industry and I have some knowledge, not in logistics or transportation, but I have some knowledge of the steel industry. A lot of times people will gravitate to that because of their knowledge and their history there, okay? Another way that people do it is if, for example, they were a carrier or a driver and got experience with certain types of equipment, like they ran reefer truck units, right? They ran refrigerated units. So a lot of times that will be what attracts them. Sometimes it will just be, again, so those are some of the variables. Now, when you're talking about geographical locations, when you're talking about a lane, like when I first started my business back in 2003, we focused in on Northeast outbound freight, van freight that was going west or south. If it originated in the Northeast and was going west or south, that's what we focused on. If it originated in Georgia and was going to Buffalo, that was not our niche. We didn't even quote that freight. Some people look at me like I'm crazy. Like, why wouldn't you quote it? Because that's not our niche. That's not what we do. So when we were determining that region and those lanes, we did look at load to truck ratio. We did look at rates. And those are important. And I think you should look at those with any industry. But that's when we started using that. So that's not the only variable. So if you're like with us in the Northeast, what we looked at was there's three ways that the load to truck ratio is going to look. There's either going to be a lot of trucks and very few loads, which tells you it's going to be a competitive market price-wise. But if you get a shipper's freight, you're going to have a plethora of trucks to choose from. If you got 10 carriers to one load, the carriers are going to be competing for that load. So you're always going to have an easier time covering that load. So that's one of the dynamics. If you have more carriers than you have loads, then that can be a good dynamic, okay? The other way is when they're in parity, right? You have the same number of trucks, the same number of loads. You know, that's going to be a little bit more challenging, but it's doable, right? It's very doable because the ratio is in line, right? You got 10 trucks, you got 10 loads. Then there's a little bit of a dynamic there it's not going to be super difficult. Now, on the other hand, if you have 10 loads to one truck, now you know you're going to be competing for that one truck. So rate is going to be a big variable. So you're going to have to raise your rate. So if you have the higher end of the rate spectrum with your shipper, then you'll probably be able to cover that load. But if your shipper wants you to be the cheapest and it's 10 loads to one truck, don't waste your time, because you're not going to do it. It's not going to work. Okay. So supply and demand, more trucks, less loads, lower price, more loads, less trucks, higher price. So those are some of the dynamics I would look at. I hope that answers your question, Tony. All right. I'm scrolling here. Give me a minute. All right. Factoring company. Okay. Question from Deborah. I'm having a difficult time getting up and running and having restarted 2 to 3 times. I don't have a website. Could this be a problem? Is it absolutely needed? All right. So I did a training just recently where I talked about 2 things you can do to significantly enhance your chances of success as a startup. One of them is setting up your website. One of them is setting up your LinkedIn profile. Now, are they absolutely a must in order to get a customer? No. But here's the scenario. And this is the short version of what I explained in the training. Okay. And if you want to check out my YouTube channel, I think it's my last video that I talked about. So you could check that out on YouTube. But the short version of it is this. If you get on the phone with a prospect, and let's say you have a good encounter and they say they want you to send some information and maybe even send them over some rates, right? It was a positive conversation and they didn't close the door on you. The first thing they're going to do when they get off the phone is they're going to search your name with the company name on Google. And if you and your company name do not come up in the first few results, then automatically that sends off a huge red flag and your credibility is shot, and chances are they're not going to respond to you, and chances are they're not going to take your call because you lost your credibility. Now, nothing says that if you have a website or a LinkedIn profile that it's going to guarantee you're going to do business, but here's what I think. A website is very inexpensive, particularly if you're part of Freight Broker Bootcamp, because we give you 5 free website templates and a process of how to get your website set up for less than $100. Okay. If you're a part of the Freight Broker Bootcamp membership. The LinkedIn profile is absolutely free. It costs you nothing, right? LinkedIn is the world's largest B2B social network. And there's a huge number of shippers on there. It's a great way to meet shippers, connect, find, and engage with shippers. But you have to have that profile because it will get indexed on Google before a lot of other content. So your website and your LinkedIn profile should be the first couple of things you should do. Now, is that the reason why you've struggled? I don't know. But I'm just giving you the feedback on the website. I hope it helps. I had a website day one. That's just me. Some people have been doing business for months or even years and don't have a website. But I was able to build a company that did $80 million a year in sales. I was able to do over $1 million a year my first year. Those are not typical norms. And I think a lot of it had to do with the credibility that we built by having some of those tools before we started. So I hope that helps. Congratulations, Red Johnson. Red says he took my course, Freight Broker Bootcamp. So for those of you that are curious, here's a student who took it and unprompted is coming up here and saying this. He's now a freight agent for a logistics company and he got his first 2 shippers in his first 3 weeks. Okay. So if Red can do it and I can do it, you can do it. Okay. So thank you and congratulations, Red. Okay, I'm scrolling. Let me looking for a couple more questions. What time is it? Okay. All right, guys. Let's see. All right, one more minute here. Yeah, everybody wants the easy route. Okay, guys, so that's it. So I'm sorry, but I've either answered a lot of the questions that are on here or, I don't completely understand the question. So listen, I hope you guys enjoyed this training. If you did, make sure you like this stream. We're trying to get this post to 100 likes. So if we're not 100 likes yet, hit the like button. If you enjoyed this, just hit the like button. It costs you $0, okay? And share the stream. If you're really enjoying this, share the stream. Most of all, if you want to get notified of future trainings, of future free freight broker trainings, get subscribed to my YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/freight brokers, plural, or you can just search Freight Broker Bootcamp. You'll see my pretty bald head. You can subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the bell to get notified of future videos. And again, I've got over 100 free freight broker training videos on that channel. They're yours to have and use at your leisure. If you want some more training and you want more in-depth training and you want more help and you want all the contracts and the forms and the tools and everything you need in order to get started, check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We have a 60-day, 100% money back guarantee. You won't be disappointed. Trained over 8,000 students in the last decade, and I promise we'll take care of you. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you next week.